that isn't what professional boxing is about. Professional boxing is the hurt business. Scoring punches is the business of the amateurs, and that's the difference. This is about hurting people. Devastating punches. And that's the difference in this fight. Beck's punches have been heavier. He's been heavy-handed throughout. While Arias certainly has been the aggressor, I don't know if he's been the ring general. In fact, I know he hasn't, because it's Beck that's dictating exactly how the fight goes. If Beck wants to let Arias come in, that's what happens. If he wants to hold him off, get off the ropes, that's what happens. Might have broken the nose of Arias at some stage in this fight, because Arias has really had problems. It looks like trying to breathe, and he's trying to clear his nostrils all the time. Like blowing his nose out, and it's usually an indication that maybe there's a broken bone up there. He's at least having problems trying to breathe. And that's been going on for 2 or 3 rounds. Again, neither fighter down, nobody cut, nobody really shaken. The heavier blows throughout have been landed by Beck, but the aggressiveness has been the last 2 or 3 rounds by George Arias, but it's not what I would call effective aggressiveness. It's certainly been more aggressive. Now referee Kenny Ezzo says, hey, keep him up. Kenny from Beacon Falls in Connecticut. Good referee, just to let these guys work. Been a clean fight throughout. Nobody down, again, nobody shaken. Nobody hurt at any stage in this fight. And while the crowd would like to see some fireworks, these guys have been working non-stop since the opening bell. You see the time remaining in the round. Remember, this is a 12-round fight, not a 10-round fight. And it has all the makings of a fight that is going to go the distance, unless Beck decides he wants to open it up and really land some power shots. Digging body shot that time. And I thought by this time that Arias' hands would be down enough so that Beck could do some serious damage to the head, because, I mean, he has landed some hellacious body shots throughout the course of this fight. There's no quitting George Arias. He's going to heart the size of a pumpkin. He's getting like a second wind, too. And that's one thing that Owen might want to guard against. Not let this guy get back in this fight. Because in spite of the fact that I've given so many rounds to Beck, there are judges that I can see and would fight with them if they went the other way. Because Beck, from about the 5th and 6th round on, has decided to be a counterpuncher and let Arias come towards him. Now Beck comes forward. I mean, he's just outboxing this guy. Look at this. Heavy blows.
You okay? Come on, you gotta work in there now. Don't let him hit you with nothing.
Never coming up. You gotta work now.
When you get on ropes, you gotta spin off the ropes, okay?
Man, you ain't even breathing. I mean, you ain't even breathing, man.
You ain't breathing hard. You know you're in good shape. But you gotta put the punch together.
Don't let him step you that, man. You got too much anger. You got too much skill, man. Let him miss. And when he miss, let him pay, man.
Okay.
I mean, let him pay. Let him pay. Angles, let him pay, man. You let him miss it and you walk away, man. No, man.
Come on. We're talking about punches that are landing but not doing a heck of a lot of damage. Watch these series of punches. Spun the head that time at Beck. But it took no toll on him at all. Boy, I'm surprised with all the shots this guy's taking. He's still in the fight. Both body shots and head blows, and man, he's hanging in there pretty good.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. This is round 11. It's championship time now. Who wants it the most? The last 10 seconds of the last round, the two of them stood flat-footed, and then they unleashed hellacious shots at the closing bell, and neither one of them landed it. Beck has fought this way throughout. He's been sort of the counter-puncher, but anytime he wanted to open up, he did. Beck would remind you a lot of you remember going back a few years, Jerry Quarry, a fawning sort of guy, about the same size, no quit in him, just keeps coming forward. Quarry, I think, had a few more skills than Arias has, but I'll tell you, Arias doesn't lack anything in the heart department. He keeps coming forward all the time. Owem Beck just waits and waits and waits. Now he opens up, tries to spin his man into the ropes and bang with his right hand. but he never caught him coming in. Tap, tap, tap. I like Chris Bird. I don't know if anybody else at ringside feels the same way, but he really looks to me like a guy that spent almost too much time with Chris Bird. Because Bird has extraordinary talents in that he's a southpaw and he can get away with a lot of this stuff. One thing you want to keep in mind as I've been giving these round after round of Beck is that judges typically don't like to see a lot of the things that Beck does, namely the flat-footedness, the tongue out, the lethargic approach. And, you know, with all that said, the fight could be a little bit closer than the way I'm seeing it, because clearly Arias is the aggressor here. I just happen to feel that the heavier blows and the more effective blows are being landed by Beck. Doesn't mean all judges will see it the same way I see it. If that's the case, all you need is about 3 rounds difference here, and you can really close fight. But I mean, I just see that Arias, with all his hustle, is just ineffective. Jimmy Lennon, the great ring announcer, just signaled to me and agrees with all those things I just said there. See again, Beck waiting, but he catches him with a...
Get off his neck, get off his neck!
Counter punch, Arias. You know, if there's any round so far that maybe I could give to Arias, I'm trying to give him this one. But there's only 22 seconds to go in the round. And, I mean, has he really been effective with the blows he has landed? I want to give a round to Arias, and I think I am going to give this round to him. Really out-hustled Beck in that round. But that's only the second round that I've been able to give Arias is just pure hustle. And again, with all the hustle, how effective was he? I don't know.
What you been through? You know kind of hard work you done, okay? Now it's time to work, all right? Put the combination
I still have
together.
Beck down front 108 and 101.
You gotta work the combination. Every time you come inside, work the combination. You only got 3 minutes.
Do you want it?
Champion,
Do you want it? It's up to you now.
How much you want?
When you come out, you touch gloves. That's one.
How much do you want, Owem?
Mas faz consciência. Em vez de eu jogar uns 40 golpes fortes aí. Viu? Eu jogo uns 40 fortes golpes aí. Não pode jogar muita água na frente do lado. Vai. 2-1. 2-1 vai pra sua direita. Ó, pra sua direita. Entendeu?
Handed me a note here, and he says Arias needs a knockout for him to win. And if it is a knockout, it's going to have to be Owem on the deck. All right, James, stick to ring announcement, my friend. All right, here we go. The 12th and final round of a pretty good WBA 12-round Finlatine Heavyweight Championship fight. We've seen Beck much more explosive in his career. I mean, he's got 14 knockouts in his 18 wins. And George Arias, a very well-conditioned, consummate professional athlete, comes in here 31-6 with the idea of taking this Finlatine title and maybe getting a shot at a world title. Held the Brazilian championship in the heavyweight division and defended that 13 times. And he's been out hustling back in the last 3 minutes of the fight anyway. But, I mean, even if he wins this round 10-9, it's not going to be enough to give him a high score card anyway. But Beck, I don't know, is he out of gas or is his arm weary or what? He seems very fatigued, and, you know, that standing up in between rounds after 11 hard rounds of boxing, you know, can take a toll on a guy. And maybe this is the stage. He bangs the body again of Arias. Arias is just too strong. I mean, nothing that Beck has been able to do has really hurt him any. He's done a great job at blocking a lot of punches by Owem Beck. Beck waits. Arias loads up the right hand. For the first minute and a half of this round, Arias has won it. He's out-hustled him in this first half of this round, and he out-hustled him in the last round. But I think Beck built up too much of a lead in the early going for Arias to pull it out. Beck seems a little bit on the gas side right now. His hands are heavy. For the first time in the fight, we see him hanging his arms down by his side. But it is the 12th round of a pretty good paced heavyweight fight. Beck looks very lethargic and very arm heavy right now. There's no more power left. There's no more zip left. Except in the old days when they went 15 rounds, or in the real old days when they used to fight till somebody was a winner. And they used to do 70, 80 rounds, and they did back in the early part of the century, the last century. They got the idea that Beck wouldn't last this thing out. But that is what it's all about. This is a scheduled 12-round fight, and it appears it's going to go 12 rounds. We've got about 25 seconds more to go in this fight. And on my scorecard, at least, Beck will get the win. Again, this might be a whole lot closer if the judges didn't like some of the things that they saw, but I just feel like the heavier blows throughout the course of this contest will make a difference in the fight, and then Beck landed many more heavy blows. Closing seconds now. Here we come. And the fight's over. I think Owem Beck did a good job of boxing in the 12 rounds, even though I gave the last 2 rounds to Arias. I scored it on my scorecard 117 to 111. We'll wait for the judges in attendance to do the official scoring.
You worked hard for 12 rounds.
I'll say this for George Arias. I mean, he really worked hard. He did a nice job defensively. He was on offense for the second half of the fight. But I just don't think his offensive efforts were effective enough to give him those rounds. Although I gave him the 11th and 12th round because I think Beck was really sort of gassed and he wasn't able to counterpunch as much as he did in, let's say, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beck began to run out of gas in the 10th. So this one's going to be in the hands of the judges. His Beck in the final round. You see what I mean about his arms being weary and Arias beating him to the punch? Yeah, you see that? And Beck's still able to get a few through there. George Arias from Brazil fought his heart out. He was aggressive throughout, came after the guy. And the towel, actually it's the flag of the country of Brazil goes across his shoulders. A lot of pride in the country of Brazil, mostly for the sport of soccer, but they love their boxing down there as well. All right, Jimmy Lennon Jr. is set, so we're set to go. And let's see if the judges have a unanimous, as Jimmy Lennon Jr. will give us the results. Take it away, Jimmy.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards with a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Tommy Kazmarek, scores at 117 to 111. Malvina Lathan scores about 118 to 110. And Judge George Smith sees about 119 to 109, all three in favor of the winner and the new WBA Federación Latina heavyweight champion, Owem "What the Heck" Beck.
All right, so the judges, namely Tommy Kazmarek, the most respected of them all, who wrote the book on judging, had it exactly the same way I saw it, 117, 111. The other judges right in line, 119, 109, 118, 110. They all saw the heavy blows landed by Owem Beck. Therefore, they gave him the unanimous decision. A great victory for Owem Beck, which will put him in the top 10 ranking in the WBA. He's the new Federación Latina heavyweight champion. Owem Beck over George Arias. A great victory for him.